Maritime Spook here, and where I'm laid up, guys, I'm in the house still again today. I've gone out a little bit the last couple days, but you know, as per doctor's orders, I kind of been staying off the leg and just exercising it the way I was supposed to, because I do need it to heal up, because I need to go back to work after a bit, guys, and I can't be limping around doing so. So I want to show you a few knives that I may not have got to some of these videos, guys, if I was out gallivanting on the beach every day like I usually do. But what this knife is here, guys, is the Camillus Bushcrafter. Now I kind of call it a Canadian staple knife to me, and the reason I'm calling it that is because at our store here in Canada, Canadian Tire, pretty much every store I've been to and looked at the knife case of a Canadian Tire, they've had this knife. So it's easily accessible. You know, there's some rural communities that the only store that has anything of any real value to outdoors is Canadian Tire. And for the Americans or anyone, you know, in the UK or anybody that watches the channel, Canadian Tire is somewhat like a Walmart, except for they don't have the huge selection of clothes. They do sell clothes there, but just more sporting clothes and, I mean, you know, purpose stuff. It's mostly a hardware store that has other stuff. We'll just put it that way. Automotive and hardware store that has other stuff. But they have guns and they have a knife case with some decent stuff in it. You know, it's run-of-the-mill kind of stuff a lot of the time, but I was really excited that they started, you know, carrying this knife. Some people balk about the price. These are, you know, $100 Canadian money. But the thing is, I just looked on Knife Center before this, guys, and they were 77 American, so that's, you know, over 100 probably Canadian anyway. So, I mean, I think you're getting a good, you know, good deal. So, beautiful leather sheath here, guys. This is the one that I took the beeswax and coated it, did 2 coatings on it. Got to do a third and go over the stitching again and go over the welt again really good. But the beeswax is, you know, give it a good rigidity and protects it, you know, from water and stuff. And the water actually did beat off it. A couple weeks before I got hurt, I was out and for the day and looking for some spots to look for chaga to do another chaga video. And I had this with me all day. And it actually started to rain pretty hard, and then when I got back to the end of the trailhead, you know, this was wet, but I mean, some of the rain was actually still beating off of it. So very, very cool to beeswax it. I got to give a shout out to my buddy Turtle Wolfpack and my buddy Gun Cotton One. Those guys there gave me some good ideas with how they do it, using snow seal and using you know, heat guns or whatever, and how the process that they do their, you know, their sealants and stuff like that. But really cool knife, guys. It has these 2 holes in the back, and when I first got it, it had leather running through the 2 holes, and it says in the description from the Camillus website that that was a bow drill string. You can take it either way. I guess you could use it for a bow drill string, but I just took the leather out and repurposed it. But it's got a good belt sheath. I like the way it rides on my hip. Really like it that way. But so immaculate sheath, drainage hole, you know, good leather, good stitching. So, you know, you're not going to go wrong with the sheath. That's always really important. Old style butcher type knife, or old Nesmith, you know, style knife. Very appealing to me because you've got that rounded portion there, so it's going to be a good skinner. It's going to be good at, you know, power cuts getting in, because with the rounded belly, you can get in and use a lot of power on your cuts that you may not use with like a straight blade. It's got a drop point, a really abrupt drop point. Got a 90-degree spine, which is super important to me, guys. I've said it a million times. I don't even consider a knife a bushcraft knife in a way unless it has a 90-degree spine. So I mean, even if you have a Mora or you have, you know, an Essie or something like that, to me, and when you can go and get it to at least strike a fair seam rod, then it's more into the bushcraft realm. But if not, to me, it's more like a survival knife, because a survival knife entails having you could get into a whole big thing, guys. But I just have a protocol for my bushcraft knives. So 90-degree spine is one of them, because it's not just for a ferro rod, guys. You know, you can use it for doing fat wood. You can use it for green sticks. You can use it for, you know, umpteen dozen other tasks so you save your blade. But it's got my Carta scales, which can be removed easily with a hex. So if you want to get one of these knives and like pimp it out, it'd be easy enough to do. So those come off easy. It's got a cool lanyard hole there. I've got some shock cord around it. So over water and on the beach and stuff, guys, it's always nice to have, you know, your knife be able to be attached. But it's got a good weight to it. It's not really anything you're going to want to go chop a lot of stuff with, but you could, you know, if you had to. You could put enough force behind it. They call it a Scandi. It's not a Scandi. It's got a secondary bevel, so you can go from there, but it's sort of Scandi shape. Came very sharp, and I think it's going to be pretty easy to sharpen as well. So just a lot of things I like about it. I like the micarta. It's just like a plain micarta. So it's like a plain Jane knife, but I could see people using this for a hunting knife, fishing, you know, everything. So that's why I'm kind of saying a Canadian staple, because when people go to Canada or people in Canada, a lot of their knives they use for a lot of different tasks. I mean, you're not going to have just a knife as much that's more, you know, task specific. A lot of people, whatever knife they got on them, that's the knife they're going to use, right? So that's great that you can get one of these here. I'm going to show you a comparison to another knife that's in this style. That's one of my favorites I just showed the other day. And this is the Chris Kane Survival Knife. You can see it's got somewhat, it doesn't have a Nesmic blade at all, but it's got that rounded portion. And just makes for a great knife. These are two of my favorites because of that reason. I actually will call this a favorite of mine, guys. I really, really like this knife. Just the way it's set up. And it's one of these things, when you have it in your hand, you can get some super, super powerful cuts with it. I just really like it for that reason. But that was just a little quick video, guys, to show it to you, because I really do enjoy this one. $100, I think it's worth it. You know, and another thing too, guys, if you're really down to the wire and you want a good bushcraft knife, and you're in Canada and it's not easiest to get stuff, or you don't want to, you know, go online, you know, you could go to Canadian Tire and pick one of these up, and you're gonna have a good knife. So anyway, guys, stay safe. I got some other videos planned here, guys, but I just want to show you that, you know, it's a good knife, and you know, it's easily accessible. So a couple strings I just noticed I got a meltdown, no big deal, but great knife. And I'm gonna go and beeswax this again here sometime soon. So stay safe, guys, and keep your stick on the ice.